Welcome to Pals for Life, where we grow together in God's Word and learn to walk in His light. Today's Bible quiz takes us into the book of 2 Kings, a sobering continuation of a kingdom in decline. Prophets were sent, warnings were given, but the people kept turning away. From Elisha's miracles to the fall of Israel and Judah, 2 Kings shows us the cost of ignoring God and the mercy that still lingered even in judgment. It's a book that calls us to remember. God is patient, but He is also holy, and when His voice is rejected, consequences follow. This quiz isn't just about memory. It's about reflection, because the drift we see in these pages still happens in hearts today. So take a breath, quiet your mind, and let's walk through 2 Kings together. Verse by verse, fill in the missing words. You're halfway through, and 2 Kings has already made one thing clear. When we forget God, we lose more than our way. We lose our covering, our clarity, our peace. But even then, he keeps reaching. Through every warning, every prophet, every pause, God was giving his people a chance to return. The same is true for us. This quiz isn't just about remembering the kings or the kingdoms. It's about remembering the King of Kings, who still calls hearts back to himself. So stay with it. Keep going. Let his word speak. Define the word on screen. Here, pause to take a moment with each if needed. Early on in 2 Kings, we find Elisha asking to receive even more spirit than Elijah had received. One could look at this as greed, a seeking of power for self. But in reality, Elisha is asking this because of desire, to do even more for God. How many times do we find ourselves asking God for things that sounds noble, but our motives are the opposite? The Lord could look at Elisha's intentions and motives and see they were indeed to do good. Is there anything you're asking for from God that doesn't truly align with how you're presenting it? In the story of the widow and her 2 sons, Elisha instructed the widow to go and ask each of her neighbors for empty jars. She had a need that God was preparing to fill, but first she had to do her part. It's easy to look at God and acknowledge that he can do all things, without also seeing that it could still require our efforts as well. Can you think of something that you're seeking God's help with? Have you asked him what part you can do? God addressed Jehu over his actions to destroy the worshiping of Baal, and Israel doing what was right in the Lord's eyes. For this, Jehu was given a reigning family seat for 4 generations. But even though Jehu had done this part right, he did not obey the Lord completely. It says that Jehu did not turn away from some of his sins. Convincing ourselves that baby steps in following the Lord can be a dangerous thing. If we know what we're doing is wrong, we should make every effort to stop in all areas. What struggles are really just conveniences you don't want to give up? Let's take a look at Hezekiah's situation. The Lord tells him to get his house in order because he is going to die. Hezekiah then prays, weeping for God to remember the way he followed him faithfully and wholeheartedly. What follows next is an act of great mercy from the Lord, extending Hezekiah's life by 15 years and healing him of his illness. All of us are alive on God's time. If you found out tomorrow you were going to die, could you say the same as Hezekiah? What can you do now to change before it's too late? Towards the end of 2 Kings is the telling of Hilkiah the priest, finding the book of the law, as it is presented and read to King Josiah. The king tears his robes and asks for inquiry of the Lord, because he knows that God's anger is coming for Judah. They did not obey what was written in the pages of the book. How many times do we pick up our Bibles and simply read without really seeking the Lord, or read without actually applying what we've read? How do you think we will fare with God if this does not change? Thank you for joining me as we walk through the book of 2 Kings, a story of warning, of decline, and of a God who never stopped calling his people back. The fall didn't happen overnight. It happened one compromise at a time. But even in the darkest moments, God still sent a voice, still extended mercy, still left room to return. Maybe that's what he's doing in your story too. Whether you answered every question right or learned something new today, I pray this time reminded you that God's patience is real. But so is His call to holiness. If this quiz spoke to your heart, share it with someone else who needs that reminder. And as always, remember to be the light, pals for life.